Hello, everyone. Welcome to Town Tales. I am Matt. I'm your game master for the evening and for all evenings, apart from Mondays, but we'll get to that later. Welcome to Symbaroum on Wednesday nights. And first off, as always, let's introduce everyone to John, our stream manager, who tinkers away behind the scenes, moving pictures, cameras, chats, rules, all those kind of things. How are you doing tonight, John?
I'm doing all right.
Good.
I definitely didn't only wake up an hour ago.
I can't imagine you would. You're a consummate professional. So, as John moves away into the background and deals with the forbidden things that only stream managers know of, let's talk promo stuff because obviously we're on Twitch and therefore that's what's going to happen. So, first off, we have a number of other series and videos that we run, the most important of which for this stream at least, will be tomorrow evening. Tomorrow evening, please tune in at 8 o'clock GMT for a Symbaroum roundtable with all the players and John as well. John's going to be basically hosting a sort of discussion between everyone on Symbaroum itself, like the setting, the rules, their experiences with it so far, their thoughts on it so far, and it's going to be a good time. It's even going to feature Elle, whose character Ephania has now passed along to the great barbarian rewards beyond ? Yeah, tune in for that. It should be good. We also run two other series on a weekly basis. Monday through to Wednesday. Monday nights is Call of Cthulhu, which literally started this week. So that's a great point to start and kind of catch up. If you don't want to go back and watch 1,000 episodes, then that's a good one to pick. We also run Vampire 5th Edition on Tuesdays. And that's pretty good too. We also run some monthly one-offs there on the first Saturday of every month. We've already run Alien and Troika, both of which were great. And next month, April 3rd, we're going to be running Mork Borg, which is a doom metal album in RPG form. So very excited for that. Only a touch more promo to go. Down below, there's a bunch of links. There's links to our YouTube and our Twitch. You're watching us on one of those. Why not check out the other? Links to our Discord if you want to chat anything roleplay with us. Links to our Patreon if you feel like supporting us and getting some tasty rewards like character creation videos and the like. And links to our social media as well, of course. Oh, I think that's everything. So without any further ado, let's start introing characters. And the people who play them, and they can talk about what happened in the last session and catch us all up to date. So first off, let's bring on Chris. Chris plays Steo, who is a town guard, a former infantryman, and sometime mercenary and adventurer. And how are things going in Cylindra's Hope, Chris?
Well, almost exactly this time last week, we arrived to the scene of the murder of one of the two kind of magic-minded people in the camp. One who had made significant progress in his dig. It was all very professional and well put together. In an abundance of caution, the party, decided to completely ransack his tent and try and find whatever interesting goods we could while we were there. We found, obviously, his main kind of delving hole had nothing at the bottom of it other than a pool of groundwater. But on his desk, we found two books. One, a book of relatively useless shorthand, but another was a piece of profane apocryphal literature from the Priosian church prior to Prios, as I could have written that prior to Prios, but Prioros. However, that itself was a fake book, and inside that there was a letter and a stone, and the letter laid out in very clear terms the fact that this mage fellow and several of his colleagues, all going under pseudonyms, are actually practicers of the dark arts that brought Albertor to ruin. This is quite the explosive discovery for Steo, especially given that while this one is well and truly dead, there are 2 more we have to track down.
Potentially, yes. So with that bombshell out of the way, you could start to address matters more to do with the odd events happening at Cylindrous Hope, the obsessive digging into this hill that everyone is taking part on. And one bold decision you made is to go talk to a particular person. And our next player, Mike, who plays Anton, our Theurg of Prios, is going to tell us all about that.
Indeed. We went to go and see a witch just outside of this camp. And she was somewhat helpful, I suppose. We were sort of like watched closely on our journey there, and while we talked to her, by the local barbarian tribe, the Carrots, something like Carrots. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, they are the Karahar, and individually or as a group they're referred to as the Carrots. Yes.
Yeah. And the witch told us basically that she wants everyone gone from this place and to not uncover the thing that lurks beneath the hill, because that is worse than death for those people who uncover it, basically. And we found out as well that I suppose she's got like someone working with her inside the camp, the sort of ogre who's in the camp. And yeah, we sort of departed fairly amicably, I suppose, from that situation. But on our way back, we encountered a gigantic wolf and some other wolves, and we very nearly got into a big entanglement with them, but we were sort of saved by the appearance of an equally enormous stag, elk, moose, one of those things that sort of frightened the wolves off. That appeared to be like kind of injured with some sort of spear, I think, in its side.
Yeah,
like that.
It definitely looked like a kind of yes, like all 3 of those things, but also not. I would say as well, just for clarity, because I don't know if you were, but it may have just been how you phrased it. The impression you got certainly wasn't that it directly frightened the wolves so much as it basically told them not to attack you.
Right.
It seemed to have some kind of leadership over them, and that it moved on and didn't act aggressively towards you meant the wolves didn't as well.
There we go.
Yeah. And then, you return to camp, and let's bring on Sam, who plays Askarine, as the final player of our group tonight. Askarine is a changeling ranger, kind of half-elf scout. And, what else happened? Because there was a kind of scattering of other things that happened over the session. So.
Yeah, I think once we got back, we didn't want to go out and do much else, but we kind of did some investigations around town. I think first I went to go and talk to Semmel, who is like a shopkeep who is convinced that I am part of the Iron Pact, despite the fact that I'm not. Basically to go and ask him if anything had happened. I mentioned that we'd seen the witch and he seemed pleased with that, and asked him about the name of this Dark Lord and who was Handello, but he didn't seem to have any information. And basically we just agreed that if he found anything out, he'd come and tell us. And I think Anton and Steo went to go and see Gadja. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Gadja Bolgo. Gidja Bolgo, who had been shot by Silvercheek the day or a couple days before, and we'd kind of patched up a little bit, and he seemed kind of confused about the fact that his money he'd been discovering was not actually money, and was thinking about going home because he couldn't really work anymore, but didn't have too much information relating to us getting people to stop digging. And finally we kind of agreed that we were going to talk to Neferina, who is a black cloak who came here, and we know they were looking for a fugitive, but they've since changed and are now just digging for, I think, to uncover some kind of old warrior who's
a war hero, a saint of the Church of Prios, who they're convinced is somehow under this hill.
So we kind of put two and two together, potentially wrongly, thinking they might have come here looking for the Dark Lord, and Anton went to talk to them. They kind of evaded his questions a little bit, and then were slightly suspicious of us for the rest of the night. So we're still not 100% sure on them. And after that, we pretty much went to bed, where we all had some interesting dreams. We basically all dreamt of things that we want being under the hill. Asgard dreamt of kind of elves and finding out about his past and heritage. Stio dreamt of a woman who could be anybody. Definitely not, maybe a wife, but probably Ephenea under the hill.
Yeah, the kind of Ephenea had survived and somehow made her way to beneath this hill from back from the Tomb of Dying Dreams.
And Anton, I can't quite remember, but
I believe
pretty
Anton's dream was that the missing Dark Lords could be found and presumably burned underneath the hill. And with that in mind, let's get going. So we'll pick up in the morning after you wake up from these dreams, and let's also pick up with a lovely die roll, because I know you guys love to be challenged with these. So we're going to be rolling against Resolute, and essentially what this is a roll to see how much you have been influenced by those dreams. I think the fact that you know that the hill does this to people, or suspect that the hill does this to people, will give you a bonus on this. So I'm going to say for now that you get a nice little +3 to your Resolute before you make the roll.
Yes, succeeded. I needed a 13.
Oh, I didn't make it. I needed 16. I got 17. That's unfortunate.
I made it. I needed 14. I got 11.
Okay. Stio, Askarai, you probably don't... It's not like you've woken up from these dreams and gone, that was a dream sent to me to gull me into digging this hill. You more wake up kind of disturbed, and kind of you can only half remember the dream, and it just seems like an unpleasant nightmare, and you don't really make that link, it isn't immediately apparent to you. Anton, you also, it's not like you wake up and go, I must go to the hill and dig in it for Dark Lords. But you start to get this sense as you wake up washes over you. You too can't quite remember the dream, but you just get more flashes of it, and you just are overcome with this sensation that maybe those other Dark Lords are here, and maybe they can be found, and perhaps they've somehow made their way into the hill, and maybe this is what this is all about. They're luring people in to try and free them, but things like that. You don't feel like an immediate urge to go dig yet, but the process is starting, yes? So I'm sure you can play that perfectly. It's not a demanding thing to ask. But other than that, you wake up. None of your companions are, visible. They've already gone up to the hill to start digging. You see no sign of Erfon's either, but his lean-to looks slept in. So.
Oh. Right. I had an idea. You know how we might be dealing with a Dark Lord at large who we can't attach to an individual person yet? If we get out of this alive, would anyone be interested on... was it Garrick his name is? The crown bearer, the first of the crown bearers, the first of the skinwalkers.
Gorak, I think. Yeah.
How about when we get back to Thistlehold, we say that we've got this letter, hand it over to the Black Cloaks, and say we have reason to believe that this person's real name is Garrick. Because that guy nearly got us killed on several occasions, and he deserves at least a little bit of heat.
Is he not? dead?
Gorak's dead.
Is
He
he?
turned into an abomination in that basement in Thistlehold.
Apologies. So I need the person who we...
Do you mean Odarko?
Odarko.
cult
There
member?
we go. Yeah.
Sure.
Sorry. I do have it written down, but it's all just a list of names at the minute. I'm going to sort that out. Anyway,
Yeah,
Odarko.
I mean, yeah. I'm okay with that.
Of course, the priority's getting home alive, I suppose, now. This was supposed to be a little pit stop. It's starting to feel a bit more terminal.
My only worry would be we're going to lead the Black Cloaks away from if they're potentially a real Dark Lord in Thistlehold.
I was literally about to make Asker and Anton make cunning rolls for that notion.
I would have thought that with what we already know about Darko, that should be enough to send the Black Cloaks after him.
Yeah, I
He's
suppose.
presumably killed a witch hunter. And
so you're more of a two birds with one stone each kind of guy. No, that's fair. That's fair. But I mean, another thing I was thinking of is when's the next boat leaving here? Because I don't know if we're going to be able to untangle this. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm getting less and less amenable to this place as the days go on.
I believe either yesterday or the day before, Semel told you that Askerai, that the next boat was due within the next week, but it isn't a kind of thing that you can pin down with any sense of regularity.
Okay. The shopkeep mentioned it should be here sometime within the week.
I definitely think that gives us some time to investigate what's happening with the Dark Lords and mages that we're hearing about in this area, and that the news of their appearance should be our number one priority right now. Perhaps even more so than investigating the hill itself. Although I do wonder if those two things might be linked in some way.
I don't know. We did see that massive beast of prey in the forest. There seems to be something, and I do recall clearly the witch mentioning that whatever's in this hill is not necessarily evil. It's just not exactly going to be healthy.
Sounds similar to the things we encountered near the other tomb. Not really evil, but just with no mind for human life.
I suppose. What's the plan today? Did anyone have any flashes of inspiration?
As you discuss this, a couple of 3 or 4 Dathalas walk into the camp gates and kind of past you, presumably on their way to the gambling den. They look slightly put out and in foul mood. You overhear one of them complaining essentially that Arkalai, the widower, who had been digging furiously at the hill, convinced that his dead wife was alive underneath it, seems to have essentially, they seem convinced that Arkalai struck gold and then left without paying them. One of the others is kind of talking doubtfully, says, "Where would the old man go with all that gold, as crooked and frail as he is?" One of the others says, "I think the hill took him. We'll probably never see neither him nor any payment." And they walk on past you towards the gambling den.
That's
I think you want to watch your muting there, Chris. We have that musical accompaniment in the background.
I think that's we should maybe call to Arkalai's patch then.
Do we know where his claim is?
Did we not see it?
Yeah, you did walk past it. Yeah, you've walked past everyone's claims on your way up and down the hill several times.
Agreed. Seems our best lead somehow.
Okay, well, that's a good lead as we're going to get this morning. Let's
Yeah.
and we want to check in with Urfons as well.
And the barbarians.
As you stand up to depart your lean-tos, your rough tents against the palisade of Cylindra's Hope, you see that the smoke from the great fire that lazily drifts into the air in the daytime as the fire is kind of tamped down slightly has just turned a rather full and pale shade of white.
White. It was
Signal.
red. It
So
was
it's
red
not
for a death. What's white?
perhaps a breakthrough.
Let's Askrai, do you fancy going and seeing if you can make contact and getting more information on that? We were going to speak to the ogre anyway, weren't we?
I think we could all go and speak with the ogre now.
Yeah, I just don't want to be the loud Ambrian in the room. It's the only thing.
Well, yeah,
Let me hang back. Let's do this. I'll keep my distance. Just to put my mind at ease, Matt, I would like to check and make sure no one's stolen my big chest of Symbaric coins as well.
Yeah, nothing has been stolen. Everyone is far too intent on trying to steal the hill's treasures to notice any of yours.
Great.
Was that the idea that you? Sorry, did you come to the idea that just Askari is going to speak to Roughneck, or that all three of you are going?
I think that all three of us, but perhaps myself and Steve hanging back a little bit
Okay,
as Ambrians.
So you start walking through the camp, and ahead of you, you're looking out for her. So let's say all of you give me a vigilant roll at +2, please.
I got a 1.
Make it.
Well,
With
with that.
19.
well, Steo doesn't notice it, but Askari, I'm going to say you literally kind of walk round a corner past a set of tents, and by the great fire you see Roughneck tipping kind of the last of a small pouch of powder into the fire, then tossing the pouch in as well, and turning to walk away, seeing the three of you and standing still for a second. Before giving you a long, thoughtful gaze and kind of walking towards you and stopping about 6 feet away from you and kind of eyeing you, measuring you to a certain degree. I don't think I've gone into really that much detail about Roughneck, but she's an ogre, which makes her, about 7.5, 8 feet tall. She's quite lanky for an ogre, more similar to the ogre from Jackad's Heart, who we all love and whose name I've forgotten. The gardening ogre from Jackad's Heart than the ogre that Mangold, thank you, than Baumello's ogre, who's much more imposing and warrior-like. She has one kind of tightly wound braid of hair, and the rest is shaved, dropping down along her back, and she's wearing kind of quite formidable steel-plated, as in kind of leather armor, but with steel plates riveted into it. And she has a very long, very heavy-looking double-handed club slung down across her waist. She kind of folds her arms across her chest and just stares at you. I guess you're going to have to make the first move here.
She is alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We went to speak with your friend in the woods yesterday.
From the fact that you are alive, I assume it went well.
Yeah, we share common concerns, I think is the nicest way to put it, although I'm sure we have our differences as well.
Are you wearing your ring, Askari?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. She shrugs and says, I have not been told to talk of these matters to anyone else.
I understand. I can imagine it's something you would want to keep close to your chest. Still, we've heard of Arcali this morning. We saw that. Well, perhaps you would believe us if we told you that the witch seemed to know of a death yesterday by the color of the flames. Today we've seen the flames a new color, and we wondered what that would mean.
You know what? Give me a persuasive roll at -1, please, Askarai.
Persuasive is my absolutely trash stat.
Oh,
I'll need a 4.
no. Oh, my God.
I got a 6. Ugh.
Oh,
Not enough. The ogre shrugs and says, I was not told to speak of this to anyone else. But if you genuinely wish no harm against the witch, her people, and you wish the best solution of the puzzle of this hill, she kind of puts one hand on the haft of the club, not threateningly, but just kind of turning it slightly to ease the weight of it on one hip. She says, leave however you can.
We intend to shortly. While we're here, we'll do what we can.
She shrugs, kind of perhaps intimating that she can't think of anything you possibly could do, and then turns and starts walking away from the great fire.
I'll turn and give a small shrug to Stio and Anton.
yeah. We'll return the shrug.
Yeah. That,
Let's get up the hill then.
yeah. Let's go and investigate this claim.
Okay.
I'm not surprised that we didn't get anything from that.
It was a valiant effort, Askarai. I think
It
that's
was.
like interrogating a brick wall.
Yeah, not my strong suit.
So you leave Cylindra's Hope, go through the gate palisade, the palisade gate rather, and up the winding path up the hill. Arcali's claim was about halfway up and quite a way off the path, kind of further down towards the base of the hill. You can see that kind of there's a couple of other Dathalers kind of sitting about on the path discussing it, and as you pass them, you hear that they are also discussing Arcali's disappearance. Apparently, he was presumably paying 4 or 6 of them in order to kind of help his dig, but now he's vanished. You walk down the hill over to the claim, and you see that there is basically he's built like a little tiny palisade raised around a pit in the ground. Next to the pit is a canvas that's set above a rickety camp bed and a small stove. And by the gaping pit, there is also a small pile of bricks.
Bricks.
In fact, as you approach, Anton, you can get some information from these. The bricks are made from adobe, reinforced with reed or horsehair, which is often the way bricks were constructed in ancient Symbaroum. Back then, bricks were used even in minor constructions, as wood was less common before the expansion of Davakar. So they look, these are old.
Okay. So possibly this chap excavated the bricks from somewhere, or he's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I guess we'll investigate a little bit more. Is there anyone else around investigating? Any
No.
day laborers, day thrallers around?
No, they've all gone off to their own.
Yeah.
To other works.
Okay.
In a
I mean,
town
they're
made
up
of
near, the nearest claim from this is maybe only like 30 feet away. You can hear people digging and talking to each other all the time, but no one is precisely here.
So, in a town made of wood, in a forest made of trees, who builds a pile of bricks?
Yeah, or how far down did they dig to find bricks?
Do you think they came up? Is there a hole? Where's the pit?
There is a massive pit right by his kind of lean-to. I assume you're moving closer to it and investigating it.
Yeah.
Sure. It looks like this pit is quite well dug and has several support struts around it to keep it in place, but this has not stopped it collapsing about 5 meters down. Once it's gone about 5 meters kind of down and into the hill. At the end of that 5 meter collapse, of that where the collapse is about 5 meters in, you can see what looks like another large pile of bricks, and you can also see what looks like a boot sticking out from the clay, and a discarded spade and pickaxe on the ground. But if you want to get up close and get, a good look at this, you're going to have to clamber down into there. It's definitely nowhere near as precipitous as the one in Handello's dig site was. You can kind of scramble down the side. It's kind of, going more horizontal, as much horizontally as it is vertically. So it's less of a pain to get in. But still, you're going to have to make a roll to do it.
It was safe to assume.
We send earth bombs down.
Oh my god. You can't send him up trees and down tunnels. He'll charge double. You know what he's like. That said...
Also, he's not with you. I didn't forget him for once. He isn't with you.
He's next on our list. So is it safe? Who feels like assuming that poor gentleman is buried beneath his boot and did not actually vanish?
From where we are, can we see if the boot is the sole of the boot sticking up out of the dirt, or is it clearly just a boot?
You cannot see from this. It's fairly dark down there. And it's just it looks like a boot half covered by bricks, but you can't tell from this distance whether the boot has a foot in it.
I'm gonna pluck 3 blades of grass from the hill and offer that we
tie them into a rope.
Offer that we draw straws to see who gets to go down.
I am of the opinion that while our last investigation, lowering my voice noticeably, was covered by a tent, this one is in the wide and open, and perhaps we should not be seen to be poking our faces in places where others may want us not to look.
I think, though, that potentially seeing a man half buried in there is a legitimate reason for going down there and investigating, right?
Yeah. Okay.
We have to go down.
I'll be outvoted on this one, but sometimes doing good and doing bad is worse than doing nothing. Do you want a rope?
Well, first, I believe you are drawing straws to see who gets to go down. So with that in mind, how about you just all give a die roll, and the person who rolls highest, i.e. in Symbaroum terms lowest, gets to go.
Grumbling. I don't even want to do this. You forced
11
straws, and I got a 6,
bang
so
average.
you can go down the hole.
I got a 19.
Oh, Ascarai it is. I mean, fortunately, Ascarai is probably the best person at climbing down into there, so that's fine. There is no rope immediately nearby. You have one back in your supplies that you can go get if you want. But as I say, you can scramble down here without a rope. It's just it would make it slightly easier.
Why do you think, Ascarai? Do we walk all the way back and pick up the rope? I know there's no
Fine.
rope on the big side either.
I'll get down without a rope. It's not the
Okay.
getting down I'm concerned about, it's the getting out again. But anyway.
I'll light a torch and I'll throw it down for you when you're down there, Ascarai.
Thank you.
Just give me a quick roll. That's fine.
I need a 10, I think. I got a 14, so I failed.
Your quick is only 10. I thought that was your one of your big stats.
No, last time, I was a discreet kind of hole, but I rolled discreet.
Okay.
On previous one, which is a better stat.
Sure. In that case, why don't you give me a give me an armor roll.
Another one of my not good rolls. I got a 4. Hooray.
Okay, yeah. So you scramble down and you kind of lose your footing a bit, and your foot twists a little, and you slam slightly into the clay, the compacted clay at the bottom of it. But you pick yourself up and kind of dust yourself off and feel no worse for it. Just your pride is all that took a hit.
I'm fine. I have that
No.
torch.
Not your finest work, Ascarai.
I'll throw the torch down for him.
So with the torch down there and able to see fully, for a start, these bricks that have kind of collapsed here, you're fairly sure they were a wall.
Okay. Can I tell if this has been like how recently these might have collapsed?
Give me a cunning roll with a +1.
Okay. I think I need 11. I got a 10.
This collapse of these bricks has happened in certain, you'd say, in the last 12 hours.
This definitely just collapsed.
What about the boat? Has it got a foot in it?
I'll go and investigate the boot.
What's your footing down there?
Yeah.
Maybe
Have we got a
should
rope?
get the rope.
Yeah, let's get a rope and Ascarai, tie it around yourself.
That's a long walk.
Now we get a rope.
I'll happily just tell you the information about a boot. You can wait for a rope if you want, but it's the boot. You kind of prod it a bit and it falls to one side. There is no foot in the boot. It has clearly come off somehow during the collapse.
I will just hold up the boot. It's not Arcali.
To the victor, the spoils. Okay, come out. I don't know. I certainly do not want to go delving any further into any brick structures.
I feel like I need to have a bit more of a... Is there any... If I just kind of carefully wander around this hole, is there anything else I can notice about it?
Not really. I mean, it's not very large. You know, it's maybe there's room there maybe for two people to stand side by side and, you know, hack away at mud or the wall. Yeah. But it definitely tells a tale that someone here, you know, found a wall and perhaps it collapsed on them. You know, what presumably they were digging through it at that point, and yeah, what happened next, you do not know.
Okay.
So the walls of this pit, you mentioned they're steep but not kind of overhanging, so it would be a non-trivial effort to collapse the hole further on purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. It would take quite a bit of labor because you'd have to, because the clay is very compacted. So, you know, you'd have to basically batter it into chunks with a mattock and then knock it all down into the pit. It would be quite an undertaking, but it could be done, of course. Yeah.
Let's try and get Ascarai out of the hole, and then
just before you come up, does it look like the bricks were sort of being used by Alkali in part of his own construction of this pit, or does it look like they are belonging to like a pre-built ancient structure that he has unearthed inside the hole?
Along the edges of the pit, Ascarai, you can see bricks embedded in the clay, like up from a, it's almost fused to it. The bricks and the wall here appear to have been down here a long time.
I think the bricks are old. I think he dug into them.
The longer you're down there, the more nervous I get. Would you come up?
All right, I'll scramble out of this pit if possible.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I won't make you make another quick roll for that. But yeah, you come on up. As you do so, you can hear the voice of Sikander, the the fire worshipping mage, as everyone refers to him, howling from over at his claim. More laborers! I'll pay you all! Quickly! Any who are not engaged! The couple of labourers who are quite near you on the pathway kind of wander over to that, and you can see a few people. Maybe the ones who walked past you are kind of all of Arkalai's labourers walking over to inquire it. Sikander is stood at the edge of his claim, kind of handing out coins. Next to him is the large individual in the plate armour who stands by him at all times. He seems to be hiring every available hand.
That's worrying.
Looks like he's on the verge of a breakthrough. Let's get to our dig site. We might need earphones sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So you head up around and over the hill to your dig site. Your dig site is empty. I mean, you barely broke ground there. About 20 feet away from it is the claim that the three companions you had through Davakar took. And they are now kind of taking shifts two at a time, kind of hacking into it. The two, the barbarian uncle and nephew, kind of stripped to the waist, so hacking away with mattocks and making quite good time and effort with it as well. There is a small pile of what looks like just ceramics and pottery next to the dig that they're doing. I say that they are doing it two at a time because there are 4 people digging. The 3 companions through Davakar and Urfons.
Oh no. That's good work, lads.
Any luck so far?
Urfons glances up at you and kind of wipes away with his brow and says, Some, no treasures, no gold, but I'm sure there's an entrance down here somewhere.
You find any bricks yet?
No bricks, just he knocks the kind of pile of ceramics with one hand lightly and it just kind of topples over to one side. It's just old Symbaroum pottery, barely worth it. But in the antiques markets in Thistlehold, this kind of thing is 10 a penny.
Entrance to what, Alphonse?
He kind of looks up at you and blinks a bit like he's not entirely sure and says, "Oh, to whatever's down there, I don't know. There's got to be something."
It's nothing good, I imagine. Do you want to we think sorry, what was the name of the fire wielder again? Sikander. We think the Sikander gentleman might have made a breakthrough. Do you want to come with us just in case things get a bit messy?
Fons looks up and says, "No, you can handle it. We'll carry on trying to get in this way."
Okay. Fair. Troubling, but fair.
I'm curious about what Sikander's found. I think I might wander back and see what's been uncovered there.
Yeah, we need to get the gossip anyway.
Yeah.
I'll get a little bit further down the road and then be like, lads, I am not on a party of 5, 2 people dying or getting lost in their heads in one trip into the forest is not odds I want to deal with.
I agree. I think we should leave when we can, especially for Alphonse.
Don't know if we're going to be able to get him out. Maybe we have to go through now.
we'll see when the bird arrives, I suppose.
Yeah. We need to learn more about this. Do we know anything about the guy in full plate that hangs around your man all the time?
You have not heard their name mentioned or anything about them.
I wonder if that guy's got more going on than he looks like he does.
So, as you said, you were going over to Sikander's claim to kind of see more of what's happening there. There are many laborers there now, and they're quite organized. They're moving in teams, shifting soil, hacking away. Kind of, there's someone moving up and down the line with like a ladle and a bucket of water, kind of giving it to people to drink or to pour over themselves. Sikander is overseeing it all, kind of stalking backwards and forwards along the line, kind of encouraging people to work harder and promising grand bonuses of treasures, and kind of giving very dictatorial advice. But generally, he's not acting like some kind of demented slave driver. He's just trying to encourage and get everyone to work as hard as possible. The individual in plate armor stands nearby, kind of locked in position. As you approach, you see that there is one very long, deep trench that has been built. Several other pits nearby indicate kind of maybe other test places he's tried to go down. And at the very end of this pit, as you can see now, he's kind of just taken a section of the hill away in a very organized fashion. And at the end of it, very visible now amongst the clay, is a wall of adobe bricks.
We got to get this back to the camp, to the fire.
I'm going to go up to Sikander if he's got a moment and ask, how close do you think you are?
You walk up near him and manage to say, how close? And he rounds on you, stabbing at you with one finger, saying, back away, this is mine, you understand it, it's mine.
I do not mean to give you the impression that I am after your claim. We have our own over there, but
I know your tricks. I know you, a learned man, a scholar. You know of these things. He steps in quite close to you and says, "Do you know what happened to the other scholar who poked his nose in my business?"
Oh, Handello. Is that who you're referring to?
There is no law here, Theurg.
That's a pretty big death threat, so I think I'm getting the hell out of there. Backing away very pointedly.
You probably didn't really notice. He's quite a tall. He's very gaunt, but he's quite a tall man, and he has a large shock of sort of crazy blonde hair and a long tangled blonde beard. And he was up in your face, so you didn't really notice. But the other two of you definitely noticed as he got more and more animated and was threatening. The individual in plate armor kind of slowly turned his head to look at where Anton is in a very direct fashion. Sorry, Chris, can you make sure you mute it?
Oh, sorry.
It's quite jarring. And you know what? Askarai and Steo, go ahead and give me a vigilant roll, and you can add a +1 to that.
Okay. I got a 10. I made it.
Okay. Both of you notice that from kind of the faceplate of the helmet of this individual, you notice just two small wisps of smoke coming out and drifting upwards into the air from the eye holes in the individual's faceplate, which immediately reminds you of something else you have fought quite recently. You also seem to remember Antom on the journey south, and I'm putting words in Antom's mouth here, but I don't. I think it's something he may have shared, because Antom realized that the creatures were kind of, those glowing guards were akin to fire spirits that are quite often summoned by members of the Order Magica and sometimes even Theurgs of Prios as kind of like spiritual servants and guardians. I mean, this thing may well be something very similar.
We should head to the camp.
Yeah, I'm definitely backing away from that scene from it, to take it from a safe distance.
So the guard, I think he's one of those moving armors, one of those enchanted things.
Yeah, I seem to remember the ones in the tomb also left some scorch marks, a bit like we found on Handello, maybe.
Well, that's another piece of the puzzle, anyway.
Yeah,
All the wounds were cauterized. I mean, yeah. I mean, you have to admit that at this point, given the conversation with Anton, I think Sikander might have murdered Handello.
I think we've all reached that conclusion, kind of.
Yes.
At least now it's in burnt black and white.
Yeah. So you mentioned returning to Cylindra's Hope. What is your plan? What are you doing where you go?
Well, I just tell the lads we need to tell the troll to pass on to the witch that's like, with that many people focused on that wall, there's going to be a breakthrough.
And what can we do to aid her?
Well, what we can do for now is just stay clear and watch how things develop. But if we can't get our funds out, we just need to stay back and get ready.
Well, we could look for some way to stop Sikander. He's already killed one, perhaps even. I wouldn't put it past him to have done that to Alkali's claim as well.
I wonder, could we cut a deal with your woman to get the leg breakers to repossess his patch?
Yeah, perhaps we could tell them that he admitted to killing Handello.
No, you heard him. There's no law here, but we do have some gold coins.
True.
So is the first thing we're doing trying to find Roughneck again?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to.
Sure. Why don't the three of you make a vigilant roll to try and locate where she is?
I needed a number significantly lower than 17, which is what I rolled.
I got a 20.
Oof.
I got 14.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you scour the camp for a good 10 or 20 minutes, and you cannot find hide nor hair of Roughneck.
I think things are coming to a head. I don't know if we're going to be able to do. If we just go and try and kill him.
We're in the middle of the day, surrounded by labourers
and one very well-armed guard. Yeah, like we fought worse.
Is there another option that we can try first? What about is it Silvercheek?
Yeah, the leg breakers definitely do Silvercheek's bidding as opposed to Roughnecks. So if you wanted to take that tack of getting Sikander pseudo arrested, then perhaps that's a route you could take.
Yeah. What about call into the shop as well? Ask Gry, can you consult your fellow cult member and see if there's anything that can be done for to just get rid of this guy as quickly as possible? Does he know of anything? Is he perhaps allergic to copper? Is anything, literally anything? Does he hate stones? Like, I just need something.
I really doubt he'll have much, but I can always try.
Okay. Leave me to talk to. I keep forgetting her name. Roughneck? No.
Silvercheek.
Roughneck is the ogre.
Silvercheek.
Silvercheek is the individual who runs a gambling den.
I'm going to call at my tent, and so did I manage to do a count of how many of these Symbaroum coins I have?
Not a precise count. I think I gave you a value of them.
Yeah. So I'd like to maybe take there's 700 thaler there. I'd like to take about 100 thalers worth, and let's just assume that's
Sure,
N gold coins out and keep them on my person.
Okay, that's absolutely fine.
A lot of thala.
That is a lot of thaler.
So Steo is doing that. Askrai is going to talk to Semmel. What is Anton doing?
I am dragging Anton with me as much as possible because I need the bodies. Unless there's something, and I will say, give this to you in character, like unless there's something you think you want to do, I could do with the extra body.
And maybe some extra persuasive skills as well, perhaps. Yeah. 2 minds are better than one. I'll join you.
Okay. So you, Askrai, you walk into the prospector's friend. It is empty. No, as in, it hasn't been emptied out. I mean, there is no sign of Semmel in there.
Can I, I don't know, knock on the counter or something? See if anyone...
you can, but it's one big room. Like, you can see everything in there.
Okay. Was the door just wasn't like...
No, there's no kind of sign of a struggle or the kind of, it's just he's not here.
Okay. I will just take a look around and leave. Go probably back to the where they're looking for Silver Cheek, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. So Steo and Anton, I believe you're going into the 5-2 into the gambling den to talk to Silvercheek.
Yeah, I'll just kind of mention to Anton first. It's like you did a pretty good number convincing those barbarian lads to worship Prios. Do you want to try and convince this Silvercheek lady to arrest her most valuable customer?
I think there's a few different ways that we could approach this, Steo, and I will do my best, but I don't know to what extent she will be willing to jeopardize other people's faith in her system and her way of operating this site. So we will see.
So I think the angle is that we're pretty sure that he killed the other gentleman, and such a transgression of justice should not go unpunished, or something along those lines. But Greg, like I don't know how many gold coins I've actually got, but I'll go like this is how many we have. I'd really not spend all of it on her. So see what you can do.
We'll do everything we can to keep those gold coins about your person.
As you kind of are walking along the kind of ramshackle main street towards the gambling den, you note that kind of here where you are in Cylindrous Hope is definitely kind of like very much in kind of closed off to the outside. You've got forest all around you and the river on one side, and you notice that for the first time you've come here, there's quite an odd, harsh wind picking up. It's just it feels ominous, and there's a kind of heaviness to the air, and it almost feels darker than it should do at around midday.
Okay.
You step into the gambling den. It is literally empty, apart from Silvercheek, who is stood kind of behind the bar, idly. She's restringing her crossbow, boots up on the counter, and she tilts her face, and the silver half face mask she wears kind of like shines brightly in your eyes for a second, until she turns her face fully and says, "Customers at this hour?"
Not customers so much as just two people who need a moment of your time about a rather serious matter that we have encountered, and something that you should certainly know about as the patron of this place. We have a very, very strong reason to believe that the murder that took place here yesterday was committed by Sikander. He practically admitted as such to myself just now. And this raises some concerns for ourselves and some concerns that we have about the safety of our companions here and other people who are trying to wreak out an honest living on this hill.
Well, I can understand your concerns, Father. I have some myself about Sikander, although I must say it is quite profitable having him here. But there is something of a barrier to taking any action against him, and that is that not 1 hour ago he hired all my leg breakers to start digging for him. Have you spoken to the ogre?
No, we haven't. Do you know where she is?
You could try looking in her tent. It's the northmost lean-to against the wall of the palisade.
And is Sikander paying your men a good wage?
Enough to lure them away from my hire for the day, certainly.
Okay. Well, perhaps we will come and visit you later on if you agree that this is a troubling development.
She shrugs and says, "Everything here is a troubling development, Father."
I think I'll step forward to this side and go, look, you're used to combat, one soldier to another. Suspect there's going to be trouble here very soon. Do you know how much it would cost in real terms to buy your boys back and get them ready for a fight?
She slowly pours out kind of a shot of moonshine onto the bar, tips it back into her mouth, and kind of you could see her kind of rolling it around her mouth, considering things. Steo, why don't you make a well, you know what? It was both of you who were talking. Which of you has the higher persuasive?
10.
Mine is 7.
Okay, well, Anton, why don't you make me a persuasive roll then, and you can add a +1 for Steo's help.
No, 16.
Can I interest you in spending some XP?
Anton is already in terrible XP debt. So,
damn it!
She sets her crossbow to one side and says, "I'll be honest with you, fine fellows. I'm starting to see my profit margins dry up here a little in the immediate future. And in point of fact, I was thinking about setting off overland soon."
Overland? Bit risky.
She shrugs as if risk isn't a particular concern for her.
You sensing the fortune changing around here then?
I think fortune's maybe about to take a sharp dive, Father. Well, you and I both know there's something in that hill.
Which you have carefully carved out a short career, allowing people to investigate.
That's right, yes.
Well, I'm just going to turn my back and walk out, I think, at this point.
Look, when are you thinking of breaking camp? If nothing else, we might join you. I don't know what's in that hill, but I'm not sure I can kill it.
Come find me at the eastern edge of the clearing in an hour.
1 hour.
I'll wait till then.
Okay, gentlemen, we go and talk to the ogre. We go and try and talk some sense into our friends, and then we get out of here.
Can I say I'm not sure who you're talking to because it's you and Silvercheek in the.
No, I'm going to catch up and say that to Anton, and I imagine Askrai is outside the tent
be coming
at
out
stage,
of the main street thing by now. Yes. So, the three of you walk out, and Steo, Yeah, you say that. And first off, can you all give me a vigilant roll, please?
Yes. Needed a 9 and I got a 4.
Nice.
God.
I made
I
it.
rolled a 20.
Oh wow.
That's fine. I'm not gonna do these fumbles too much. I don't think you're meant to, even outside of combat, anyway. So it's all fine.
Unless it's funny.
Yeah, Steo and Ascarai, as you gather it, and Steo says his piece. Both of you notice kind of movement on the far edge of your vision, on the trees that surround the clearing, and you see many barbarian warriors, the Karahar, stepping out from the lee of the trees, not proceeding, just step one pace out from the trees, weapons drawn, forming a ring of steel around the entire clearing. And as you do that, you look around. You see that you see a lot of movement around Sikander's claim up on the side of the hill, and you hear kind of a cry of you're not sure if it's maybe victory, maybe pain, and then all of you blink for a second, and you are stood in a very similar but not quite the same landscape. The sky is darker. The wind is now howling madly through the trees of Davakar, and blood gushes from the claims of the hill like fountains of blood. A wave of it reaches the camp at the foot of the hill, knocking over people and buildings alike. In the forest roams an army of beasts, led by a massive elk. It raises its head and bellows furiously at the top of the hill. And then reality snaps back into place. None of that I have just described has happened. But the barbarians are there. There is a noise, there are cries and kind of odd voices from the side of the hill, and a definite movement happening. Lots of people are moving around up there.
Things are happening. Let's be prepared to leave.
I don't think leaving's an option now. I think we close the gates.
I think we need to get to our claim, get our funds and the others.
Get our funds, get our treasure. Be ready to go.
I don't fancy our chances going anywhere near that hill at this stage, and I don't want to show the barbarians that maybe we'll still get clemency from them if we stay clear of whatever's about to happen on that place. At least give us some time to see what it is we're going to have to kill. I'm about done with killing gods.
I might be leaving it too late for Earthons and for the other three.
Okay,
They're
well, how
out
about
there digging now?
Ascarai, maybe you go to Earthons, and myself and Steo will get the ogre and try and get her assistance, and we'll meet back here in the shortest possible time.
Do not tally a moment. Earthons, you've seen what this place does to people. Earthons may already be lost to us.
I agree that we should at least try.
I agree.
Okay, so Ascarai is going to try and get Earthons. Steo and Anton, you are going to try and find Roughneck. Let's stick with Steo and Anton first. So you dash towards the north of Cylindra's Hope, and as you have to kind of go past the Great Fire to get to where Silvercheek described Roughneck's lean-to. You see that she's already at the Great Fire. She pours another pouch of powder into the Great Fire, and a great plume of purplish black smoke erupts. As you run up, as you're kind of like dashing along the pathway towards her, you see her kind of like unlimber her great long club and start to walk back kind of towards you, and towards you is towards the gate to the palisade. As she's striding forward, she pauses in front of you, kind of holding. She's not holding a club in a threatening manner, but she's certainly holding it in a defensive manner as you approach her.
Yeah, I'll definitely kind of step to one side to make it clear we're not obstructing her way there. And like, it seems we're out of time.
She nods and says, "If I was you, I'd get myself hidden or safe."
Okay, thank you. We'll stay in the camp and away from whatever madness is about to erupt from that hill. If there's anything we can do to help,
She shrugs in a way that makes it clear that she doesn't know if there's anything she can do to help. Says, "Good luck," and strides past you, clearly moving towards the gate of the palisade. Askarai, you are now kind of you're moving up the pathway to the hill. As you do so, you can feel that the wind is rising even further around you, and you can see at various other claims that aren't Sikander's kind of the laborers there are definitely picking up that something is wrong. Around Sikander's claim is a beehive of activity, people pulling bricks and earth aside, and you can see a couple of people kind of scrambling through the gap that they've created in the ground. There's no sign of Sikander or his armored companion that you can see, but many of the other people from the other claims are kind of moving. At this point, not in a panicked way, but definitely more speedily down the hill and kind of towards Cylindra's Hope, with the occasional glance over their shoulder at the oddness that is taking over the atmosphere of the place.
They're kind of heading back to the palisade.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sikander and well, you can't see Sikander and his companion, but the all of his laborers, which was a great deal of them, like maybe 40 or 50 or so of the 100 people who were here were working on that claim by the end of it, and they are, as I say, uncovering the path and scrambling inside the hill.
Okay. Does it look like there's a hole in like a brick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna head directly to our claim.
Okay, you move past Sikander's, move round and up the hill. Along the way, you see Gijabolgo and Neferina, not together, but they're also moving down and away. They look like they've woken up. Their eyes are a lot more focused. In fact, all of the laborers who haven't been working on Sikander's pitch, everyone seems a lot more focused and less distracted. Whatever spell this place has cast seems to be wearing off.
That's a good sign, at least for Erfons and the others.
So you emerge onto the top of the hill, like the back of the hill where your claims are, and as you stride along, you can see the four individuals, your four friends, kind of standing up and around their pit and looking around themselves. Vikram is making some kind of Odav kind of warding gesture against kind of evil spirits or curses, and is looking around as the wind. It's really picking up now from the fact that you've been in cover this entire time here. It's now howling across the hilltop. Erfons kind of scrambles over to you. He's strapping his sword onto his back and says, "I think something very bad is about to happen, and I'm not entirely sure how I missed it before now."
Don't worry. Well, worry a little bit, but there's something bad is about to happen. Sikander's made some kind of breakthrough, and seems like he's unearthing whatever it is that this hill is hiding. We should get back to the palisade. The others are there, and we can figure out some kind of plan.
The Vikma and Gadraban and Relnara kind of have heard you say all this, and they look kind of dazed, as I say, as if they've just been woken up from a deep sleep, and they kind of nod along, clearly glad to just have someone tell them what to do, who they trust, and scramble towards you as well as you turn around to make your way down along the path. And as you do so, the top of the hill collapses. The very center of it, which is a fair way from you, maybe about 40 feet or so, just starts crumbling and tipping inwards. And as you kind of stagger back, shocked at this, and you know what? Let's have a quick roll to see if you're caught in any of the kind of debris that's cracking under your feet.
Roll the 20.
Okay. In that case, let's say you're knocked to the ground. So you kind of you're knocked to the ground and you scramble backwards. It's something like an earthquake, but as you watch, it seems like the top of the hill is sort of caving down inwards, and then you see a figure clambering up out of the center of the hill. And in your head, as soon as you saw movement, you thought some great, huge beast was about to rear up out of the hill. But instead, it is what appears to be, albeit a very tall and quite clearly well-muscled and warlike elf.
I will draw my bow. Is this hole going to stop us getting back to the palisade?
No, you can definitely kind of move round along the path. The hole doesn't actually reach the path. The hole itself isn't tremendously large, but like it collapsing in has caused a lot of the ground to kind of either crack or have like a wave of rubble rush over it. But you can definitely make your way round from where this individual in the pit is.
We need to hurry back. I don't know what this is, but it's bad. We should get back to the others.
Erfons kind of nods next to you and says, yes, bad is one of the terms I would have immediately come to. He's already like scampering ahead. As you clamber back to your feet and start running along behind the others, because you fell, so you're slightly behind them. You see the elf kind of reach to his full height and look around him. He's wearing quite luxurious-looking sort of velvet clothing, a deep red that looks kind of slightly pitted and patched as if it's been lying in place for a very long time, and a long velvet padded cloak that flows up and flickers in the air behind him, also a kind of deep crimson red. He turns to look around him, not even looking remotely in your direction, kind of scanning around the hill, long white hair flowing in the wind, very pale face, that odd, almost alien-esque features of the elves. His eyes completely a kind of amberish brown, no pupils, no irises, and raises to his lips a horn, which it's not even sound. It's a feeling that washes over you. The hill itself kind of seems to tremble beneath your feet, and then you realize that the sky is trembling, the woods are trembling. Everything you can see and perceive has this wash of vibratory sensation over it. And I'm going to ask you to make a resolute roll.
Seems fair. Okay. Please no 20s. Not a 20, a 19.
Which is, of course, not a pass. However, because you, I think it's safe to say, are predisposed to basically people who are considered allies or enemies of this individual get a reroll. And I think I'm actually happy counting you guys as enemies, since you have been intent on not falling victim to whatever is within this hill. So I think that's absolutely fine. So you get a reroll.
Okay, that's nice. Please no 20s or 19s. I got a 19 again.
That's some
Can
rough
I
times right there.
interest you in spending some XP?
Yeah, I mean, it does seem bad, but I'm also kind of curious what it does.
Well, if it helps you, I'm going to ask people to make rolls for your other 3 companions, so you could still see, but prospectively, what happens. I can assure you, you will realize very quickly what happens if you fail a resolute roll, no matter whether you succeed or fail.
I will spend an XP to try and stop just rolling 19s and 20s.
Sure.
Be good. Okay, let me spend this XP.
Please.
I got an 8. Hooray.
So that's successful, right?
Yeah, just about.
Ooh. Well then, how about we have some extra rolls from everyone? Steo, do you want to... Well, let's go around and see. Askarai, you succeed on the roll. Which of your 4 companions do you want to roll for? And you get to roll for 2 of them.
I will roll for Earthons and Relnara.
Okay, well, let's make the rolls for them then. So give me a roll for Earthons. Your target is 13.
Okay. I got 11. Nice.
Good. And give me the roll for Relnara. Your target is 9.
I got 13.
Okay. Steo, do you want Vikama or Gadraban?
I keep getting them both confused. Can I take
Vikama is the older one with the large axe and fearsome martial prowess. Gadraban is his much younger nephew who has long red hair and kind of reminded you of someone.
Yeah, okay, so maybe the emotional connection to the other one will, the younger one will...
Cool. Your target is 9 as well.
Oh my god. No, 13.
And Anton, give me a roll for Vikama. Seems a guy who might be quite handy in a fight that may or may not be about to happen. Your target is also 9.
12.
Oh my god.
So... Earthons continue scrambling forward. Askarai, you feel kind of the tug of something, like an almost physical tug inside you to pull you towards something, an unknown destination or person or location. But you power through it, determined to not be tempted by whatever is offered you by this individual who's lurked beneath the hill, and you kind of almost jerk forward, almost physically tripping over your resistance to it, and stagger forwards. The other 3, the 2 barbarians and Relnara, are less lucky. They arch their backs and howl to the air. Vikama starts bellowing a rich, hearty laugh, and with odd, slightly frenzied motions, they start jerkily walking towards the individual. And as you look over and to see where they're heading and to see this elf who's clambered out of the hill, you see that others, laborers, Sikander himself, are crawling up the debris and out from the ground, all of them with this odd glazed expression on their face, a rictus grin, giving screams and howls and peals of laughter as they move upwards in a bizarre sort of sense of puppetry. Let's go back to Steo and Anton, shall we? Because there's developments down in the camp as well.
Oh my god.
So Steo and Anton, where did you go after Roughneck passed you to go to the palisade?
I think perhaps maybe towards the gate, because we know that Askarai is out there. We can sort of probably hear some stuff that's going on. We were going to meet Askarai back in the palisade, and there's obviously one way in and one way out. So actually, just maybe hovering around the gate makes sense.
Sure. As you do so, you meet waves of people kind of coming in down from the hill who look quite worried and disturbed. You hear a lot of people talking, and everyone's going, there's some odd noises coming from Sikander's claim. They've broken through. They were acting very strangely. And then there is a thunderous crack from the hilltop, And even from down here, as you look up, you can't see him clearly, but you can see a pale figure crawling up from some kind of pit that's dropping down in the hill. And the camp goes wild, essentially. People are shouting, running for their tents, dashing out from the gate, dashing out from the palisade, and dashing, towards the tree line. It is a panic.
Okay.
Is the Our Lady, whose name I keep forgetting? Oh, I'm
Ralnara?
terrible.
Silvercheek?
Silvercheek. Has she emerged from the gambling den?
You have, I would say, precisely. Well, you know what? Give me a vigilant roll at -5.
Oh my god! Like I need to roll a 1, basically. Yes.
I hate to say that's not a 1.
Yes, no, but it was 7 -5, 6,
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2. Yes.
Okay. You do see Silvercheek emerge. You basically see Silvercheek outside the palisade, moving away towards the east, with a very large rucksack on her back.
Oh, bless. Okay. And the clearing is still circled by barbarians with weapons. Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
Who have told us before that they're not going to let anyone out alive. Correct.
They did say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a while ago now, but yeah.
Things may have changed. They may have not. Okay, so I'll catch up with Anton. Do I see Ascarai and the others kind of making?
Oh god, no. You can't. It's absolute chaos up on that hill from what you can see. You can see other individuals now on that hilltop who seem to be moving in odd, jerky motions, and you hear. Although the wind is blowing against you, you can still hear odd noises from that hilltop, shrieks, gales of laughter, howls. Yeah. And then, unless anyone wants to take a quick action, do either of you want to take a quick action? Yeah,
I'm going to start trying to marshal people and trying to call kind of fighting men to make ready and that kind of stuff. Try and take some sort of leadership and also get close to Anton.
Sure. Well, why don't you give me a persuasive roll at -5?
Oh god, another 2. A 7, alas.
No. You kind of start shouting for people to, form a line, get weapons, all that kind of thing. No one is listening to you at all. Anton, what are you doing while Steer was attempting this?
Getting my flail out, I suppose. It's dark times for Anton when he has to reach for that bloody thing. But yeah, sure. I think I've got to do it.
Sure. So you as you grab and heft your flail, Steer, as you're trying to organize this line, you hear a rumble coming from away from the hill. And as you turn to look, you can see slightly over the palisade and also through the gate, because you said you were near it, out from the forest, rushing up towards the hill, is a huge pack of wolves. At its head, one great, large, ravening wolf. And in front of that, the huge elk-like, stag-like, moose-like creature that you saw in the forest. Can we have that image up, please, John? Just to remind us what that beast looks like. There we go. The pack of beasts is roaring towards the hill, and as you watch, all the individuals seeming, you're not close enough to see exactly what's happened to them. Ascarai is, and you can see this as well. The seemingly sorcerously ensorcelled individuals on the hill start pouring down it towards this huge pack of beasts. So, let's stay at the bottom of the hill for now, shall we? But we're kind of going to go into initiative. Not that you're in combat, although you might become in combat. But let's just use it as a handy way for ordering. So, John, can we have an initiative up that's just the players, please, for now? Although you can add Earthons to that if you want. Well, it'll be Askarai first because Askarai is always first in turn order. So, Askarai, you're now kind of stumbling and trying to keep your footing behind Earthons as Earthons is definitely trying to run around the hill and get back down to the camp.
Okay, and the others have kind of just gone up the hill.
Yeah.
Are we
They
now
have joined the mass of individuals on the hill that are now pouring down towards the huge pack that's roared out of the forest.
Okay, they've already made it up, and we've kind of progressed towards the palisade maybe a little bit.
A little bit, but not very much. You kind of rounded the side of the hill, and you still have kind of most of the area of the claims between you and the palisade of Cylindra's Hope.
Okay. Well, I'm going to carry on, I guess, with our funds towards the palisade, try and get back to Steo and Anton before we decide to do anything. So I'm just going to be running as fast as I can safely run on this hill towards the palisade.
Sure, absolutely. Why don't you give me... Are you making any effort to steer clear of the howling, laughing individuals who have somehow been dominated in some way by this elf, or seem to have been?
I'm gonna try and not I'm not gonna get close enough that if they just decided to attack me for some reason, they would hit me without me being able to react. I'd stay maybe a few meters away from them, but I wouldn't be skirting.
You're not trying to hide from them or anything. Okay, cool. Well, why don't you give me a quick roll then, please?
Okay.
And take a -1 on it because of your stumble and fall.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, what kind of side of the hill are they running at? I made the quick roll. I got an 8.
So you know what would actually be handy, John? I don't know if you can do it at the same time as the initiative, but can you pop up the map, please, and then maybe I can illustrate exactly what's happening a bit clearer for people. Lovely. So you are essentially, Askarai, over on the far right-hand side. You see the paler path leading up the hill?
Yep.
You are on the far right-hand side of that, kind of moving round. The gate palisade is over on the left of the palisade, as you can see. And essentially all those individuals and the elf on the hill are rushing down towards the the southwest, the left-hand side, which is where the beasts have poured out of the forest. So essentially, if you want to get to that palisade, that's where both of these malign forces seem to be heading, and where they will perhaps meet. So yes.
So they're kind of running down the hill, almost kind of towards where the gate is, but towards the forest.
Sort of more towards that the top left corner, perhaps, is where you estimate they'd meet.
But certainly, we'd have to go very close to them to get to this gate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's great. Thanks, John.
Considering we're still I guess we'll still head towards the main palisade. I might say to Earthons, we could. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna keep going with Earthons for now and see how the fight progresses.
How did you make that quick roll at -1?
Yeah, I made it.
You made it. Okay. So you're running and keeping up with Earthons, and you can see ahead of you kind of these two forces sweeping towards each other. You can also see that at least a couple of the enchanted humans have broken off from the group and are howling and swinging their weapons at the air as they stumble towards you and Earthons.
That seems bad.
Seems pretty bad.
Do I think we could outrun them, or are they able to move?
You could try and outrun them, sure.
Okay.
Are you going to try and do that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. If you, just as a word, if you try and outrun them, you might not be able to get a bow shot off them if they do catch you. that you're on mute.
Sorry, I think I'd still attempt to outrun them just because
Sure.
they're people who are just kind of
That's
controlled
absolutely
anyway.
fine. Why don't you give me a quick roll at -1 then, please?
Okay. Please. I got 11, which does not make it.
Okay. So you stumble forward and realize, like, when you fell on the hilltop, you definitely did something to your ankle, and you're not going to be able to outrun them. They're hammering down the hillside towards you, shrieking wildly and waving their weapons, kind of almost trying to cut you with them before they actually reach you. It looks like 3 of the laborers. You don't recognize them as individuals. And they are essentially about to be upon you. Can you make me, if you want to make a bow shot on them, can you give me a quick roll to see if you manage to get an arrow off before they reach you?
Yep. I did not make it. I rolled an 18.
Okay, then they are upon you. John, can you add Death Dancers to the initiative, please?
That sounds bad.
I don't like it when they're called stuff like that, Matt.
No, I don't imagine so. Erfon's ahead of you has kind of looked around. He was making better time than you, but has seen them, and he spits out a particularly virulent Thistlehold curse and spins round. And as he spins round, whips that glittering longsword out from his side and weaves through the air towards them, already kind of bounding forward one side to the other as he almost, you've seen this before, he kind of works his way up into the almost dance-like frenzy of sword play that he performs, and he leaps through the air towards the frontmost one of them, his sword already glittering in arcs around him, and you see one of the Dathala's arms just spin off into the air. They howl in maybe pain, and carry on slashing at him with a dagger held in the other hand. And then we are on to them. So we will have one of them reach you. I think that's fine. Do you want to make a defense roll for me? And it's just flat defense. They've got no bonuses or malices to their roll.
I need a 13. I got a 19. Not good rolls today.
Not great rolls. In that case, do you want to give me a armor roll, please?
Oh, God, I wish I had my good cloak on. I got a 1.
Okay. Would you not have had your cloak on you? I'm fine with you wearing the cloak. You seem to think it gave you some kind of,
I think it was more defensible. Would there have been a moment when I could have put it on? I think I would have thought about
when you got up. I don't know. You were talking about putting it on last session.
Yeah,
and we decided that but I think that the fact that I said no, you haven't got it on, means that if you wanted to put it on later, you could have done so. If that makes sense.
Well, I'm going to accept this mercy and have the cloak on.
I think that's fine. And did I tell you exactly what that does?
I think, I couldn't know what it does, like in terms of like magical stuff, but I think you said it gave me 1d4 extra.
I think that sounds right. I'm just going to very quickly double check that. Otherwise, I don't want to. I'm already being generous. I don't want to be unrealistically generous. So yeah. Yeah. It is indeed plus 1d4 in armor. So why don't you give me that roll as well? Yeah, you're wearing this cloak of almost rainbow shimmering lindworm skin. They're kind of green scales, but they shimmer, like oil or petrol or mother of pearl.
Okay, another d4. I got another 1.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Well, one of the laborers lurches towards you with just you get a brief glimpse of the woman's eyes. They're gone. that you're not sure they really perceive you to be here in any real fashion, and they're holding a hatchet in their hand, and it slightly glances off the lindworm cloak as you flick to one side, but it leaves a gash all along the inside of your forearm. Take 2 toughness, please.
Okay.
And then we're going to move down to Steo. So, Steo, you can see this huge pack of beasts has roared up out of the forest. The very fringes now of the death dancers and the beasts have slammed into each other. And you can see that a live, graceful-looking pale figure is stalking down from the hill, somewhat behind the wave of sorcerously enchanted individuals, and they have a great bow that they've unslung from their back and are now nocking an arrow and taking very careful aim at the huge stag-like creature that's tossing laborers aside with each sweep of its horns, as they very obviously are making directly for each other in this battlefield. The elk creature still dragging that huge spear behind it, caught in its flank.
Much as I do really want that spear, I would like to just kind of do the gate guard thing and make sure I count Askarai and Erfons into the camp before I do anything else. So I'm basically putting myself in the threshold of the
threshold
palisade.
and kind of keeping an eye out for Askarai and Erfon. So you definitely can't see for a start, but yeah, guarding in there, that seems appropriate. John, we probably won't jump immediately to them, but John, can you add Jackars to the initiative order, please? I just want to see where they fall. Jackars are essentially wolves, but wolves with like a odd fur patterns. You have fought Jackars before, weirdly in a tavern in Thistlehold.
Yeah.
They are very like wolf-like, jackal-like creatures, and they make up the vast majority of this pack of beasts. Cool. Okay. Steo, as you're kind of guarding and watching, you can see several Jackars breaking off from the pack. The pack as a whole is just running wild now, running in every direction, snapping their jaws, sort of frenzied to the point of just pure creatures of violence. And several of them are swarming towards the palisade gate. So they seem like they're going to come for not specifically you, but anyone inside the camp. Anton.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I thought taking guard at the gate was your action.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what I'm going to... I'd like a better number than several, but we'll get to that next turn, I imagine.
Sure, yeah, but there's not several engaging you. There is just a wave of them breaking off. The palisade gate is wide enough. You are not going to hold it yourself. Like, it's, about 15 feet wide. So, yeah. Anton, what are you doing at the sight of this?
I think I'm going to cast Blessed Shield. So, like, extra armor protection. Or try to, anyway. So, I'll roll Resolute. Haven't rolled that well tonight. So, no, I don't make it. Fail by 1.
Okay. And I think we determined, we're not sure what it's actually intended to be, but I certainly think we homebrewed that if you fail casting something, we don't roll for corruption for you, because otherwise it's too much. Like, it's insane as it is. So we will we will not do that. Absolutely, yes. Maybe it's a rather intimidating situation. Yeah, and it's normal for a Theurg to not be able to perform their spells under this circumstance. Don't worry. It happens to everyone.
Stop, oh my God. So
let's roll back round to the front of this group. Askarai, one day Thala has kind of engaged you in his swing. She is swinging wildly at you with that hatchet. The other one, who Erfon's cleaved a limb straight off, has basically carried on swiping at him a bit and then collapsed into the ground, and he's now engaged with another one who's hacking at him with a short sword. I'm assuming you're going to fight this laborer.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and knife the one that just hatcheted me.
Sure. Well, their defense is a +1, so
Nice.
Roll your hit at a +1, please.
I need a 16. I got a 2. Nice.
Yep, absolutely. Do you want to give me your damage roll then, please?
Yep. So a D6 and a D4. I'm using feint. I got 4 damage.
4 damage total. Okay, so you essentially damage them in exactly the same way that they damaged you, leaving your dagger leaving like a trace along their arm as you try and dodge around them. They're not very capable combatants, but they are very enthusiastic. And it's quite difficult to dodge in and hurt them seriously when they're just thrashing so wildly around them with this hatchet.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a number of Jakars. And there is one Jakar who's kind of ahead of the group and is bounding swiftly towards the gate, sees you, Steo, and comes straight for you. But fortunately for you, you get an attack on it because of your long keyword on your spear. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So make the attack. Their defense is a -5.
Oh my lord!
They are nimble, very nimble.
Oh, hang on. So -5. So I have to roll under 10. I have to roll under 11 because I have the Spear of the Dead King.
Yeah,
I rolled a 15.
Okay. So as it bounds towards you, you have your spear planted in the ground, and you give it a thrust forward as it attempts to engage you, but no, you don't manage to get it. The slavering beast is far too dexterous for that, and it is going to make an attack on you, and that attack is, can you roll your defense at a -3, please?
Oh my lord, these guys are not mucking around. I fail.
Okay, then give me an armor roll, please.
Okay, please don't. Oh, 9. Delightful.
Yeah, it bounds for you and scrabbles at you slightly with its claws and attempts to get a bite in on your forearm, but you're wearing greaves on your forearm. It clangs against the metal and rears off with a pain snarl. No damage. No damage. So Urfons up on the hill is going to he spins through you kind of can only see him on the edge of your vision, and it's quite difficult to watch Urfons fight anyway. He flickers through the air with a bound, with a kind of somersault through the air over the top of the laborer, lands on the other side, spins and starts dashing towards where you're fighting the remaining one. You see the Daethala turn to try and give chase after him, clearly unaware that they're wounded at all, and clearly unaware that they've been sliced nearly in two as the top half of their body kind of slides to one side, and with a wet thud they splat into the clay and mud of the hillside.
Silently thank whatever gods I know of that Urfons didn't get turned into one of these.
I mean, and maybe thank whatever gods taught Urfons how to fight.
Yeah.
We're back around to the Death Dancers again. There's only one of them facing you, and it is going to attack you again. Give me a defense roll at a +1, please.
Okay. I need 14. I got a 17.
Rough times. So give me an armor roll. So that's 2d4, which is quite nice.
Yeah, I got 6 this time total. A lot better.
The hatchet literally kind of jar. You can feel it kind of bang and jar off against the scales in the cloak you're wearing. The cloak kind of flush against your leg, and it would have been a nasty chop to your thigh, but it just slides off those scales. You're beginning to think this was an excellent choice to pick of treasures from the Tomb of Dying Dreams.
Yes.
Steo, are you going to attack this Jakar?
I am engaged in combat, so it would be foolish to try and disengage now.
It would be. So that's an attack at -5.
I got an 18.
A swing and a miss, as it were. You thrust forward, but the Jakar is just too fast for you. In many ways, spears are not particularly useful, perhaps weapons against an opponent that's just trying to bite your throat out. Anton.
I'm not being engaged, right? So
you are not, and you are definitely close enough to engage this Jakar that Steo is fighting, and close enough. If you engage it this turn, I'll let you take a flank shot on it. It'll probably round to face both of you the next turn, but you can have an attack with an advantage.
I just don't like what advantage would that give me though, because it's -5 right now, so I'd need to roll a 1 or a 2, which is like this is no point. So
I mean, that's 1 in 10. It would advantages. Oh my lord, I don't have my cheat sheet out. I believe they give you +2 though, right?
Yeah.
+2 to hit, and then they give you extra damage if you do hit.
I still think I'm better doing the Blessed Shield, or could I do both, or would that count?
No, they're both actions. So
okay. I'm gonna pray to Prios that Steo is going to be okay for one more round, and then I'll cast my Blessed Shield to protect myself.
Sure, that's absolutely fine. So give me another resolute roll.
Oh, I made it! Thank God. That would have been a disaster if
Thank
I
who?
hadn't have made it.
Yeah, thank Prios.
Yeah.
Have none of your Abrahamic god here.
Yeah, I rolled a 4. I needed a 13.
Okay.
Ooh.
So yeah, your blessed shield sparkles into life around you. You feel the warmth of Prios envelop you, and feel that you are definitely better prepared for combat than you were before. Ascarai.
I'm going to take another swipe with my dagger at this Death Dancer.
Sure.
Was it?
So yes, it's a roll on a +1.
Okay. I got a 12. I made it.
Okay, give me that damage roll.
Damage 8. Nice.
Excellent. So, you manage to weave around that. I mean, their guard is, questionable. And whether the concept of a guard for them exists. And you weave around to the side, plant your dagger into just where their hips are, and they give a kind of low growl. They seem to have actually registered the strike, but otherwise, they're not snapping out of it. They're not alarmed in any way. In fact, they give a sort of pained howl of laughter and come for you again with the hatchet. And yes, Mike, as Mike just pointed out, he needed to roll for corruption there, and he rolled a 4.
Which is not good, because that would tip me up to my threshold. So
yeah,
I'm going to spend last week's XP to re-roll that.
Yep, go for it.
And I roll a 2. Okay, fine.
All good. So we go back to that. We go to the Jakar again. The Jakar at the gate. And Steo, can you give me a defense roll at -5, please?
Yeah, probably not. Oh, yes!
Oh, hang on. Is it defense? No, hang on. Defense. No, -3, not -5.
Oh, I still aced it.
You still aced it. Yeah, the Jakar snaps for you. And
nice.
its jaws just meet air as you dodge, kind of take an infantryman's step back away from the strike. Urfons is going to weave through the air towards the Death Dancer you're fighting, Ascarai, and with an audible exhale of breath, slashes down at the back of their legs, and they tumble to the floor. He severed their legs at the shins, and they're just kind of thrashing on the ground, wailing and screaming in slowly diminishing fervor.
Breathe a sigh of relief.
Okay. The Death Dancers aren't going anymore. Don't remove them, though, John. I want you to remove them. Steo, why don't you give me another attack on this Jakar, please, at -5.
The ongoing battle. I rolled a 15. No chance.
Hard to hit these guys,
At
aren't
least I'm keeping them busy from the camp of civilians. That's my...
Well, one of them.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Anton, what are you going to do?
I can attack now. Well,
Okay.
that remains to be seen, I suppose.
So you
but-
can attack with an advantage. So give me an attack roll at -3, please. As you
Oh my
try
god, I
and-
rolled a 1.
There we go. There we go. So that is a perfect hit as well. So that's a plus extra D6 as well. So what you're going to be doing, so you're going to roll because you have the advantage. You are going to roll
Oh my God.
your damage, and then you're also going to roll a D4 for the flank and a D6 for your perfect hit.
Brutal.
F&A level.
Yeah, I was going to say, lads, am I FNA now?
And if Mike rolls 3 with these 3 dice,
Right, so sorry, D8, and then
whatever yours is, and a D6 and a D4.
Well, I've rolled 8 and 6 so far.
Oh my God.
The 2.
Nice.
And I can share my screen if people don't believe me.
No,
that I've
we
done that.
believe you. We believe you.
8, 6, and 2.
It goes against
16.
everything we've learned, but yeah. But 16. Okay, let me just check. Oh yeah. Okay. So Steo, you feel a kind of warmth pass you on one side, and a kind of glitter, like a ray of light on the edge of your vision, and the jackar's head explodes in front of you as Anton steps in with a kind of unintelligible war cry, swinging that flail, which is basically a length of wood with a number of heavy metal orbs attached to it via chains, and he's just managed to catch it as it's trying to weave in to get to you. The flail, the balls of the flail impacted on the side of its head. It's a mess. You are splattered in Jakar brains and gore, and it collapses to one side. And as it does so, you can see that in the gap as you've defended against this one Jakar, there are now 3 further of them that have bounded into the camp and are now kind of snapping and howling at a number of other Daythalers who are desperately trying to fight them back with fairly rudimentary weapons like a tent pole, a knife, things like that. So while you definitely prevented this Jakar from getting in, there are certainly others that have already made it in past you. But Anton killed something in one fucking shot. So I think we can safely say that that's the best thing that's ever happened. Let's have one more round in this. Let's have one more round, and then we'll drop the stream for the day. I actually thought we would get to the end of this story arc tonight, but clearly we have a considerable chunk of dramatic events awaiting us next week. Askarai, what are you doing now that these the death dancers engaging you are all dead?
I think I'd just quickly talk with Earthons. Where do you think we go? Head for the gate, or?
He kind of nods at the general howling melee that's broken out between the pack of beasts and the death dancers surrounding the elf, and says, "We can try and make our way through that. We could try and scale this palisade."
But it seems difficult. I don't have. Well, what equipment do I have with me? Any?
I mean, I don't think you have your
Probably
adventuring
not.
pack with you.
Yeah.
So we
Probably
agreed you didn't have the rope with you, for example. So
Yeah.
It would be tough to scale this palisade. I mean, that's why it's a palisade.
I think both are bad options. Maybe the palisade is less dangerous, but at the same time, if we don't get back to Stian and Anton, they won't. I doubt they'll leave. Maybe let's try the palisade first and then see how it goes.
Sure. Why don't you give me a quick roll at -5?
Okay. I'll need a 5, I guess. That's my quick. Yeah. Need a 5. I get a 9.
Okay, it becomes very quickly apparent. Urfons is an even better climber than you are, and he kind of scrambles halfway up before he loses his grip and drops. They're very smooth, timbers that have been slammed into the ground. This is exactly what they're there to stop someone doing.
Yeah.
And he drops down and kind of shakes his head and looks over at you, and looks back at the melee and kind of then glances back, gives kind of a little one smile, hefts his sword and says, do we try and fight our way through the laborers or the beasts?
Let's say the laborers.
Sure. Yeah. I didn't like the look of that elf anyway. And he, still with a slight grin on his face, dashes towards the melee, presumably with you by his side.
Yep. Oh, good.
Okay. Jackars, we don't have any Jackars kind of being attacked yet, and they're kind of attacking the laborers nearby. Urfons, I think we can say that, and the Death Dancers. Let's just go straight to Steo and Anton, I think. Steo, what are you doing? There's a group of laborers who don't seem to have been ensorcelled by this elf nearby, and they are being attacked by Jackars. There's also the general melee outside. There's no sign of your companions. What are you going to do?
Oh, look, they're already dead. I have to help the people who I can see are in trouble. So I'm going to go and get a attack on one of these wolves
Absolutely.
with
I think
advantage,
that's good.
hopefully.
Yes, absolutely with advantage. I think you can do that. So you're engaging them, so you don't get another free long attack, correct? It's
That is
if things
correct.
engage you. But you can definitely take an attack with advantage, so that would be an attack at a -3, please.
Please, just one tonight. I fail.
There we go. Good stuff. Yeah, you dash towards the Jackars. Unfortunately, they kind of see you coming and weave to the side as kind of at least one of them wheels around to engage you, and you kind of thrust into them. Although if it weaves around to it, well, it'll engage you on the Jackar's turn, which is when you'll get your free attack. So that's fine. Anton.
Yep, I'll try and target a nearby Jackar and
Do the same thing.
Two for
Yeah.
two.
Clearly just fucking one-shot it.
no, not this time.
Give us an attack roll at -3, please.
Yeah, I rolled 14, not even close.
No. Okay.
And I'm spent.
So that's it. That's your lot. So Steo and Anton dash to try and defend these Daythalas against the Jakar threat, and yes, and all of you become aware as this is happening. Askarai, you and Urfons can see it ahead of you. Steo and Anton, you're all kind of aware of it on the edge of your vision, and you quickly look over to see at the center of this swirling battle, beasts are trampling people, rending them asunder. Daythalas are falling on the beasts and just biting and stabbing at them and howling and laughing. And at the center of it all, the stag creature and the elf hunter meet. They clash together, the elf hunter flipping over the back of the stag weaving to one side, holding its cloak out in one hand and a sword in the other. There is a gore line already across his chest from the stag catching him on the way over, and they meet together and clash, and the howling wind around you knocks up yet another notch, and you can't help but feel that whatever you do within this conflict may be insignificant towards the ramifications of however that particular duel goes. And I think we'll leave the session there for the week. Thank you so much, folks. If you have any questions or comments, pop them in the chat and John will flash them up on screen for us to talk about. But before that, I've got some promo to do, and the most important promo, as I said at the beginning, is that tomorrow night, if you love you some Symbaroum, hang around tomorrow night from 8 o'clock onwards on this channel. We'll be having a Symbaroum round table where we'll be The players and John will be discussing Symbaroum so far, the setting, the system, the story, things they've enjoyed about it, things maybe they haven't enjoyed so much. And we're just going to chat around about Symbaroum and have a good time. I'm not going to be there, although I will be in chat. So I'll be flinging abuse from there. We also have a bunch of other stuff that we stream. We've got 3 weekly series that now run Wednesday through to Monday, Monday through to Wednesday, all at 8 o'clock GMT. Mondays is Call of Cthulhu, which has only just started this week. Tuesday is Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition, and Wednesday is, of course, Symbaroum. You know that. You're watching it. We also run monthly one-shots. We've got a VODs of a couple of them now over on our YouTube, Alien and Troika, and our next one will be Mork Borg, which is a wonderful doom metal album of an RPG, and that goes ahead on April the 3rd, the afternoon of April the 3rd. Afternoon if you're on GMT time, not if you're not. We've got a bunch of links below, YouTube, Twitch, Patreon, Discord, social media. I won't go through them in depth because I feel like we're already tired of the amount of promo I've done tonight. So there we go. Is there anything to pop up on screen, John? I don't think that looks... we had a lovely cheer from Steve. Thank you for the 100 bits, Steve. Very generous. Very generous. But I don't think we've got any questions or comments. Clearly, everyone is exhausted. Behold the spiky horse. Yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about the stag elk creature there, Chris. Yes, absolutely. Elk. Well, I'd say in the absence of that, let's have some notions of thoughts from you guys. But you know what? You're given plenty of those notions tomorrow night, which I will again say tomorrow night. Symbaroum Roundtable, 8 o'clock. Let's get excited. Wonderful. Do you reckon F&A could have taken them all on? Quite possibly.
Definitely.
Quite possibly. So, again, thanks to everyone. Thanks to the players. Thanks to John for stream managing. Thanks to everyone for watching. And we'll catch you next week for more Symbaroum, or preferably tomorrow night for more Symbaroum-related roundtable discussion streaming.
Yeah.
The genre you all know and love. The genre you all know and love. So, thanks, everyone. Stay safe. See you next week. Bye-bye.